Hey everyone, welcome to Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey. So we are out at the deer lease. I've got my buddy Warren Byle here, and we are celebrating, just relaxing after Christmas,
Absolutely.
getting away from the hustle and the bustle, and just enjoying nature. It's been a great week, couple of days so far.
It sure has.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. We basically smoked every tobacco that we could collect
Yeah.
during the Christmas holidays. Yeah.
Yep.
But today we want to share a special blend with you. This is something that Warren and I picked up at the Chicago 2022 show.
That's right.
Yeah. And we found at the Ewan Reese booth that they had, the little room that they had, a blend that's kind of hard to get. And this is Wessex Curly Block. Now, this is a really interesting blend. First of all, we got to show it to you. It comes in a rope, okay, but not like the rope that you would see in Samuel Gawith or Gawith and Hogarth. This is more like a log.
A billy club.
Yeah, I mean, this sucker is huge. Pull that thing out of there, and we'll show them. It's first of all, it comes in about a 10-ounce pack.
Yeah. 250 grams. It's like 10 ounces.
It's crazy. It's like the biggest cigar I've ever seen is what it looks like.
But it's rolled as tight as can be.
Yeah. And then Warren, actually, to prepare it, he took that block or that rope to a meat slicer and started running it through a meat slicer. Let's show them what it looks like after you kind of... to me, it kind of looks like a really thick escudo. That's what you had said.
Yeah, it cuts really nice. So you get the...
Let's take one out.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's really a pretty big coin. Thick, compact, and it's very dark. It looks like an escudo and a lot. And then when you prepare it, we just kind of broke it up right here into just kind of a
ribbon cut.
Yeah, just a ribbon cut like you would see in a lot of different other blends. So, yeah. All right. Well, a little bit about this blend. First of all, we're told that it used to be made by McBaron, and that STG, Scandinavian Tobacco Group, made it, and it was imported by Kohlhaas and Kopp. Now I think Kohlhaas and Kopp is totally out of the picture, and it's just STG that makes it and produces it under the Wessex name.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, a couple of things about this blend. First of all, it is a Virginia Perique. It has dark burleys in it. Perique and Virginia. It's a rope cut. It comes in 275 gram.
Right.
275 gram.
275. Okay.
Yeah. It says on tobacco reviews that it also came in bulk, but I don't think I've ever seen it in bulk. Of course, I don't live in Germany, so I guess I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know how much more bulk you could get than this, but I mean, maybe some places would have it sliced up and made it available.
Yeah, I don't know. Yep, and it is a German tobacco. At least that's what Tobacco Pipes says, and it is currently available, although it is difficult to find.
Right.
You know, we came across it at the show, and there were two.
Yeah, it's the first time I'd seen it then.
Yeah, two. Now, this one, we checked the date code on it, and you thought that it was probably from 2017?
That's right. That's what the date code says.
Yeah. So this is, what, 5-6 years age?
Right.
Yeah, nice. Strength on this one is medium. No flavorings are on this one. The room, we'll talk about the room note, but the taste is medium to full. All right. Well, Warren, since you were kind enough to bring this for us to try, why don't you start with the tin note? What do you think about the tin note?
Well, it's interesting because what apparently is a 6-year-old Virginia Perique. Some burley in there. It it has the fruits you would expect from a Perique, the dark fruit, but it's still kind of, there's a little bit of that grassiness there as well. You know, I was kind of expecting something that was a little more mature Virginias, but I don't know if it's a bunch of red Virginias or not. It's pleasant though. I mean, it's what you would expect from a Virginia Perique.
Oh man, the the tin note is awesome. I really love it. You're right. To me, the Perique smells really are dominant in this tin note. You get a lot of that dark fruit. I even think like of a grape,
Right,
but not grape as in the fruit grape, like in the soda.
right,
That soda kind of smell grape, where it's a kind of a sweet tart kind of.
and not like Captain Black grape either.
No, no, that's for sure. Yeah, not like that. And then you're right. There's kind of a hay grassiness, fermented
Yeah,
gray hat, gray fermented hay grassiness
right,
in
right.
there. And there's a sweetness that's behind all of this too. It's really interesting. Do you get any of the burley coming through, like maybe a nuttiness or something, earthy?
Not reeling, but if there is burley in there, it's probably being a little, at least from a tin note, being overshadowed by that. Perique has that earthy,
Yeah,
mushroomy side to it.
yeah. That's what I get mostly out of that tin note, and it's really delicious smelling. Makes you want to try it for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you think about the flavor on this?
The first thing that struck me, because I've had one of the bowl of this, is I would say, the tobacco review thing, as far as the flavor, medium to full. I'd say it's more towards the full.
Me
There's
too.
there's a lot of flavor there.
Yeah.
Um, really, or some would say, really fills your mouth. It's not like the fruit flavors or the dark fruit. It's maybe the Virginia's a little more in the front
Yeah,
initially.
it's a full tobacco flavor to me. Um, and I agree with you that the Virginias are probably forward on this, but it's not like a dark Virginia or a red Virginia. It actually acts and tastes like a bright Virginia.
Yeah.
I get a zesty, kind of a citrusy zest on there. Um, there's a slight sweetness. I can feel the tingling on my tongue right now from this blend. And the Perique, yeah, I taste the Perique in there a little bit, but the Virginias are the number one player in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't get the super peppery retrohale that you would get from a Perique. And if there is burley in there, how I would sense that is burley tends to dry my mouth a little bit. And I'm getting that a little bit. Where normally Virginias, they make my mouth water a little more.
Uh huh.
And I'm getting a little bit of that drying in the mouth. So,
Interesting. Yeah, it's got a great flavor, but it is a mouthful for sure. Um, I get there you can definitely taste the fermentation going on in there. There's a kind of a little bit of a nuttiness that I get in there, but I get mostly a sweet and a grassy floral kind of taste in there.
yep,
Um, this is where I get a little more spice than from the tin note. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. It,
This is where the Perique is really starting to show.
yep,
Yeah. It's a good flavor, man. But I really, you look at this tobacco and you think, look at all the dark colors that are in here. You think, wow, this is going to be, like smoking a red Virginia or
yeah.
something like that, or
Where
stove
you get more of
Virginia.
that fruitcake flavor.
Yeah. And I don't. I get this is more of a straight Virginia
Yep.
than some of the other things. And we've tried today and yesterday. We've tried several straight Virginias
Right.
that just came out at Christmas time.
Yep.
And this runs right next to them as far as flavor profile goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they match. They match quite a bit. Cool. Well, we're in the camper. What do you think about the room note?
I think it's a pretty robust room note. I think it sits there and it comes through and it says, "Hey, I'm here." So, I would say that might be tolerable for some, maybe not so much for others, but
Yeah, at the best tolerable, I think. This will be one that when my wife comes in to the camper next week, she'll still smell it, and she'll go, "You guys have been smoking in here, haven't you?" But it's the Dearleys. What do you expect? I mean, come on,
exactly.
we're gonna. It's cold outside and it's windy right now, so
Yeah.
we're not gonna go outside. We're
No,
gonna enjoy it
no,
in here.
no.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with you on that. What do you think about the moisture level on this?
Well, it's ironically a lot of flakes are moister than they would appear. But this, I only cut this up a week ago, and it's pretty. I think it's ready to go.
Yeah.
It's not moist. I don't think it needs drying time.
I was reading some of the comments on this, and a lot of guys were saying that it came moist, and that dry time was needed. I'm feeling it right now, and this, of course, this is 6 year old. Maybe when it was fresh, it had
Right,
more moisture, but right now, I would be afraid to let it dry anymore because it just, to me, when I dry Virginias out, they get spicier and hotter.
right.
And so I don't want that. I don't. I'd
Little
rather.
moisture, slow it down.
Yeah, I'd rather have it a little bit more moist. So, but this is ready to go. I'm with you on that. Yeah. Nicotine. What are you thinking?
I mean, I have to go back to the first bowl that I tried. As I was expecting a pretty strong nicotine hit because it's a Virginia Perique, but I think, and maybe it comes through in the description that you can find on tobacco reviews. They say it's like a breath of
Perique.
Perique. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's there, but it's not enough to really take the nicotine hit up. So I kind of was surprised that such a full flavor was there, and it didn't come with a higher nicotine hit, which normally happens.
Yeah. Yeah. The Perique has a little more bump of a nicotine. The Burley's going to have a little more bump of the nicotine, but the Virginias are more of a moderate to medium. And since this is more of a Virginia forward blend, I'm thinking that it's
Yeah.
about a medium on this one. Yeah. Okay. So Warren was commenting on what tobacco reviews posted from the manufacturer.
Right.
And so I wanted to read that to you real quick. Now, it was translated from German.
Okay.
So some of the phrases are a little awkward or not quite translates well into English, but I'll try to give you the gist of it. Translated from the German language, this pipe tobacco was made of a high quality Virginia grade and a breath of Perique. There's your breath of Perique.
Yep.
The characteristic form gets the round block by a form in which the tobacco was put in. For at least 6 weeks, the mixture rests in the press, ferments gently after, and reveals the multi-layered taste nuances. After the aging period, the broad rope is divided into blocks at 275 grams each. At smoking the at smoking at smoking, the connoisseur can expect wonderful, natural, sweet notes. Perique enriches the mixture by spiciness, strength, and discrete fruity flavors. The tobacco is of middle strength and full flavor. And another note that they put down says, according to the Heinrich family, this used to be made by McBaron, yet these days is produced by STG and imported by Kohlhaas and Comp, and it's sold under the Wessex name. Now, couple of things about this blend is that I'm noticing is that, you know, I'm having to relight quite a
Yeah.
bit. Of course, I'm talking a lot,
Yeah.
but I am having to relight quite a bit. But it's not harsh. There's no bite, and surprisingly enough, I'm enjoying that Virginia tingle that I'm getting. Usually, I don't really care for that because it kind of numbs my tongue for the other tobaccos.
Right.
But I'm kind of enjoying it. Now, you're not going to cut this block with a regular knife. You better have something that's a honker
Yep.
and that's really sharp to be able to cut this.
Yep. Yeah, I like not all meat slicers have two blades, but mine has two, a straight blade and a serrated blade, and I had to use the serrated blade to get through this. It just the straight blade, it cut it, but it had to work hard at it. So
To me, this is very similar to, you know, we said this earlier, to the Dan Tobacco Salty Dogs.
right,
I mean, that Salty Dog is just a pressed plug that is just so hard to cut through. And this one is very similar to
right.
that. I can see people taking chunks of this out and then trying to break it up rather than cutting it in coins.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do this with other blends where you buy 4 tins and you open the first one and then you open one a year later, but you can do the same thing with this. You know, chunk it into 4 chunks so that all age is the same, and then slice up one chunk and leave the other four in your cellar. Come back a year or two later, grab another chunk, slice it up, and see how it's changed. Because yeah, I'm curious now that we know that this is from like 2017 per
Yeah.
the date code. I would be interested to see what it's like fresher. You know, I would expect it's more moist, but I mean, see what the flavor is. Maybe even more Virginia forward, more grassy, more citrusy. You know.
You know, you talk about the aging on this one. What would you think about cutting the whole thing into coins and then jarring them differently? Do you think that that would age better that way?
Yeah, I would expect that it would age faster. I mean, that was the whole concept when the Navy plug started. Is the sailors that it took, you know, however months to get across the ocean, they wanted a tobacco that would last a long time, and so they took that plug and either chewed it or sliced it, and so I would think it would age faster,
Yeah.
sliced into coins.
You
Than
know, kind of like the Escudo, because, you know, Jay Furman, he let me try some Escudo that was aged maybe like 20 years. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's wonderful. But it's already pre-cut, right? It's
right,
already in coins. And thinking that process might help the aging potential. Because in a tube like this, the middle stuff is not getting any
oxygen or
oxygen at
no,
all. So that's not going to change at all until you cut into it.
right.
So
Or if it does, it's very very slow.
yeah, I wonder. I bet that would be an interesting experiment to do as well. Okay, so it burns slow. I mean,
It does.
it's not a fast burning.
Nope.
This is one that it's gonna take time to get through a pipe of it. It's well balanced, pretty consistent so far. I mean, the flavors that I got at the beginning of the smoke, I'm getting halfway through the smoke as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Pretty good. Like I said, it's got relights. I'm needing relights, but I don't feel any moisture in the bowl. So it's, you know, it's. What do you think about it being an all day smoke?
For someone who is a vapor smoker exclusively, I could see them maybe smoking it all day. It's not an all day smoke for me because I like all kinds of different tobaccos, and the flavor's so full. This would be an after dinner smoke for me. But for someone who really really loves Virginia Creeks, it could be.
Yeah, I don't think I could smoke this all day. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. Yeah, this requires slow pace and a good drink to go with it as well. Well, like we said, if you can find it, it comes in 275 gram pouches.
It's about 10 ounces, right? Over half a pound.
Yeah, and you say we spent what, 75?
Yeah, we got a deal. They're 75.
Are you sure it was 75?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was less.
Maybe 60.
I thought it was $50 or $55,
Oh,
but
maybe it was.
I don't remember exactly. I can look it up. Hold on, let me check. Wessex Curly Block, E1 Reese. We paid $50 for this.
Okay, 50.
$50. You guys, if you get a chance to find some of this, especially if you're a vapor guy, if you're a vapor person, you need to try this. Yeah. This is going to be right there for you.
Yeah, and if you're like a part of a pipe club and you all want to go in on one, that makes sense because I mean this is basically 5 tins worth.
That's true.
You know, and so you could go in on it, have someone cut it up, and each take 2 ounces of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Good stuff. Well, thank you for bringing this. This is kind of a special deal. We really enjoy this. I'm going to have to smoke another bowl tomorrow before you leave.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't like in a big hurry to cut this up, but I know Neil Osborne in Pod 101.
Yeah.
He did some photos of he's got some Peter Heinrichs, which they have a curly block like this that I think is out of production now. And he showed the photos of how he cut it up, and he had like 4 or 5 different knives that he used to cut it up and dice it up. And I'm like, you know, I'm going to try the meat slicer because otherwise, you know, I'm going to cut myself, and I didn't want that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it came out pretty good, and it was pretty easy to break apart. I mean, we sat there for a little bit making sure all the little pieces were busted up, but it was pretty easy to do. So, yeah. Well, guys, that's our treat for you. This particular episode, it's airing on New Year's Day. So, Happy New Year's to everyone watching. We hope you have a great week. Don't forget, make all your piping moments count. We'll see you next time. Oh, next week, I'll have a tour of Peretti's for you in Boston. So that'll be fun too. I'll show that to you. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.